Our diet choices impact greatly on animal welfare. The less animal-derived foods we eat, the better it is for the animals. But the fortunate thing is that the less animal-derived foods we eat, the better it is for human health and planetary health. The top cause of premature death in the UK is cancer, with 42% of deaths before the age of 75 years being due to cancer. 50% of these are due to lung, breast, bowel, and prostate cancer. And at most, our genes contribute to less than 10% of these cases. Cancer Research UK states that more than 40% of cancers are preventable through healthy lifestyle choices, and these lifestyle choices include not smoking cigarettes, eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, maintaining an optimal weight, sensible exposure to the sun, limiting alcohol consumption, and undertaking regular physical activity. The World Cancer Research Fund recommendations for cancer prevention, published in 2018, recommend a diet composed of whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and beans as being optimal for cancer prevention. We have learnt a lot about diet and health from following vegans and vegetarians. Two of the largest studies including vegans and vegetarians are the EPIC study, the European Prospective Investigation into Cancer, and the Adventist Health Studies. And when you look at the rates of cancers in these populations, the vegans and vegetarians have a reduced risk of cancer, between about 15 and 20% reduced risk of cancer. And when you look at prostate cancer and female-derived cancers such as ovarian, breast and endometrial, there's a 30% reduced risk of these cancers in vegans and vegetarians. So why are plant-based diets so good at preventing cancer? There are a number of reasons. Firstly, plant-based diets are low in cancer-causing agents, because these cancer-causing agents or carcinogens are mainly found in meat. In 2015, the WHO produced a report stating that processed meat is a group 1 carcinogen, that is, it directly causes cancer, and this is mainly in relation to colorectal cancer, but it also increases the risk of breast cancer, prostate cancer and pancreatic cancer. Red meat has been classified as a group 2 carcinogen, a probable carcinogen, that is, it probably causes cancer. The reason why these meats are implicated in driving cancer is firstly that processed meat contains nitrites and nitrates. These are injected into the meat to prevent botulism and help preserve the meat. But in the gut they're converted to N-nitroso compounds which damage the cells and DNA and lead to abnormal cell growth. Both processed and red meats are also high in heme iron. Heme iron is only found in hemoglobin and muscle cells and not found in plant foods. But the heme iron is fairly toxic and creates an oxidative environment in the gut, and it damages cells and DNA and also creates N-nitroso compounds that further damage DNA, and this leads to unregulated cell growth. When you cook meat at high temperatures, and that's any meat, be it red meat, processed meat or poultry, you generate cancer-causing agents. These agents are called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and these are also implicated in the increased risk of cancer. Plant-based foods are full of nutrients that are known to prevent cancer. The best nutrient in plant foods is fibre. Fibre is known to reduce the risk of several cancers, but also reduce the risk of heart disease and other risk factors for heart disease and diabetes. Plant-based diets are associated with a healthful weight, and you are more likely to be a normal weight if you eat a plant-based diet. And we know that obesity is the second commonest cause of cancer after tobacco smoking. Plant-based diets are also associated with lower levels of growth hormones in the blood. These growth hormones are estrogen, insulin-like growth factor, and insulin itself. And these growth factors are much higher in the blood of meat eaters compared to plant eaters. Plant-based diets also maintain optimal gut health, which is required to prevent damage to the gut lining and also prevents the development of cancers. And of course, plant-based diets prevent some of our commonest diseases, such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and hypertension. And these chronic diseases are also contributing to our increased risk of cancer. It's worth mentioning dairy. There's a direct association between the consumption of dairy and the risk of prostate cancer in men. Dairy consumption at high levels increases the risk of prostate cancer by about 30% in men, and this has been shown in a large number of studies now. The reason why dairy increases the risk of prostate cancer, and perhaps other hormone-responsive cancers as well, is because the lactating cow is often pregnant, and therefore in the milk there's high levels of estrogen and bovine growth hormone, and these drive hormone-dependent cancers. There's also the presence of casein, the main protein, certainly in laboratories has been shown to drive the growth of cancer. Dairy is high in insulin-like growth factor, which is also implicated in a number of human cancers. The other reason dairy may be increasing the risk of certain cancers is because lactose is broken down to the sugar galactose, which has been implicated in driving ovarian cancer. So we know that a healthy diet composed of whole plant foods is also optimal after a diagnosis of cancer. Dr. Dean Ornish, a pioneer of lifestyle medicine, showed that in men with early stages of prostate cancer, if they ate a diet composed of whole plant foods, low in fat, they were able to arrest and reverse the progression of prostate cancer and reduce their need for surgery and radiotherapy. Subsequent studies have shown that after a diagnosis of breast cancer and after a diagnosis of colorectal cancer, if the diet is composed of mainly plant foods, people have a greater chance of staying in remission and a longer chance of surviving. So to summarise, a large proportion of cancers are preventable through healthy lifestyle choices, and when it comes to diet, the optimal diet for cancer prevention is one centred around whole plant foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains and beans, and it's a diet that limits and avoids red and processed meats. And not only is this the best diet for cancer prevention, it can improve survival and remission rates after a diagnosis of cancer.